Hello everybody and welcome to TV8's annual Basketball Coaches Preview Show. My name is Mike Martin and joining me as usual is the coach, Chris Wright. Chris, looks like we should have a really fine basketball season again this year.
Yeah, Sheboygan County's loaded with players again and teams again, and it should be fun. FRVC, CLC should both be fun to watch. One
of the things about North is they lost a lot of seniors, their entire starting lineup, so they're going to be almost starting from scratch this year.
Yeah, North of course loses everybody, and look at the coach's yearbook, the kind of the Bible as we call it, and they're picked number one again.
The other team that should be real interesting to follow based on last year's performance is Sheboygan Christian. They won the soccer state championship, went on to win their conference, and now they've won the soccer state championship again. You've got to wonder what they'll do with their basketball season.
Yeah, I think both teams in Sheboygan, Lutheran and Christian, should be surprised. Lutheran had an undefeated JV team as well, and Christian, of course, with all those talented soccer players and stuff, now getting ready for basketball. It'll be fun to see what they do.
It's interesting that Lutheran would have finished undefeated in their JV season since they didn't have John Decker on their team. He was moved up as a freshman to the varsity.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to talk to Coach Decker about his son John, just a sophomore this year.
Well, we're going to take a short break, but in the course of the interviews we have Coach Todd Decker, Brett Flipsy, Tom Desitel, and Dan Koopman. And our focus tonight will be on the Fox River Valley and the Central Lakeshore Conference. When we come back from a brief break, Chris will be talking to Coach Todd Decker.
Winston, just one more inning, Grandma.
Ever notice how many things today kids can do without actually moving? A whole lot of things their parents used to do the hard way. So many kids' activities today seem to leave out the activity part, which makes exercise even more important for children. In fact, new research tells us the best time to enhance bone development is during childhood and adolescence. And just getting children to walk an extra 35 minutes a day could spare them the pain of thinning bones later in life. Healthy bones come from healthy habits. Encourage your kids to get up, get out, and get moving.
Hello. Hey, Grandma, how about another grape soda?
For more advice on how kids can build strong bones, visit aaos.org, a public service message from the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons.
Education is the key that opens a door to endless opportunities, adventures, and experiences. Without education, life is a continuing cycle of closed doors. This message brought to you by the United States Air Force, because we know the value of a good education.
There is strength in our numbers. Our call is to action, to practice what we preach. Be there to care. Our passion is compassion. We're only human, but together we're humane. Our letters stand for taking a stand, for taking the lead, for filling the need. The American Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. Be part of our heart.
There's a new experience around every corner as you discover Wisconsin. Discover Wisconsin like you've never seen before.
We're back with Coach Todd Decker from Sheboygan Lutheran, who helped me get started with basketball way back in the 80s, when I don't even know they had dunking back then. Coach, you started sneaking up on people last year.
Well, we're off to a slow start last year. We just couldn't find ourselves, and some things weren't working. And we changed some personnel, and some guys started doing the things that we wanted them to do, and not surprisingly, that's what we expected, but it took us a little bit longer, so we were a little bit behind the 8 ball, but we got things going, and it was a nice way to end the year.
Yeah, you finished real well, made a run there at the end of regional championship.
Yeah, a game that we let slip away against Oostburg, and hey, free throws, and we missed 6 free throws, and then we went into overtime, and would have been a nice win. We didn't get it, so that's something we're going to strive for this year. And but it was a nice way to end the year. But we wish we had 1 more, 2 more games, just like any coach does.
Definitely. Well, your son John made all conference last year just as a freshman. What's he been doing in the off season to get ready for this year?
Well, he's been pretty busy. He's played on an AAU team from Milwaukee, and which kind of traveled around nationally, and he went to a couple basketball camps and been pretty busy and really working hard at his game, try to help his teammates out. So he's had a really nice summer and dedicated his fall for basketball too. So we're looking for some real nice things with him, along with a lot of other players that we have.
Yeah, speaking about some of those players, you had a JV team that went 18-2 last year. I think they were undefeated in the conference. Those guys going to help you this year?
Oh, definitely, and we're excited about that. But there's a big difference between JV basketball and varsity basketball, and that's what we have to have those guys understand, the speed of the game, strength. But we have some nice ball players, and what's nice, they know the game a little bit, and that makes the coaching a little bit easier. But in a 32-minute game, when you got that many players expecting to play, it's a challenge for a coach. So I'm up for that kind of challenge. When I go to a small school, you usually don't have that depth, and that's what's going to hopefully help us this year, so that's what we're working on.
Who are some of those juniors you want to expect to help?
Well, we had Josh Binster, who we brought up, and he's just a competitor, and he's just a great athlete. We have Matt Hetman, who's 6'8", and he's a guy that's really going to help us out. Matter of fact, we had a little scrimmage tonight, and he was really tough, and we're really looking forward to that. Micah Johnson, a real nice shooter. So we got some things where we can complement our teams, but it's just putting it all together and having those guys understanding their roles, and hopefully we can do that this year.
All right. I understand you're big, pretty big. Are you going to change anything offensively or defensively that you're bigger this year? Or,
Big doesn't mean you rebound, though, okay? And that's what we have to work on. We have some size, but our strength is we need to be strong both mentally and physically. We're not going to change too much. What's really nice is this JV's ran a lot of stuff that we did, and it's good. We're going to throw a few wrinkles in, but I don't expect to change too many things, no.
Yeah, lots of depth, too. That should be a big plus.
I hope so. I hope so. I hope that it can keep us fresh and get after teams a little bit. So we need to balance those things and see what we're going to be able to do with that.
Seniors to help you out?
Josh Lindsay came back. He really, I think that kind of turned our season around. He just got things going. He's kind of your garbage, nuts and bolts. We have a transfer student, Zach Telshaw, and he really knows the game. That's going to help us, a real good defender. And so I think that'll come in. Nick Rint, he came off the bench last year, captain this year, looking for some real good things with him and helping John out. And so those seniors will help out. Adam Rush comes in too, so we're excited about those guys.
You said rebounding you're concerned about. What are some keys for you to have a solid season this year?
Well, I think the mental toughness when things don't go right, and I think that's with any basketball team. Handling adversity. If you have a bad game, how are you going to pick things up? How we can put all our players together to mold and have that unity that you need. So those are some of the things that we need to do. Just play solid defense, move the ball around a little bit, and just get some guys to distribute the ball and work with some of the strengths that we do have.
Well, you mentioned earlier you got off to a slow start last year. Any other worries this year? Probably want to get off to a good start next week, huh?
Well, I don't know as a coach, but there's a lot of high expectations, and I hope that our kids don't read into those type of things. They can kind of convince themselves that they're really good, and you need to just have those guys work hard and get off to a good start. But it is a long season. Basketball is a lot of ups and downs, and good things can happen later on, and that's when you want it at tournament time. And we have a tough conference, and that's every game you have to be ready for, and that's what we have to instill in our players.
Yeah, I was thinking a little bit that, I don't know, I mentioned that Oostburg maybe has come back to the pack a little bit, but you got some teams like Cedar Grove and Christian, and some of these teams are kind of moving up. I don't know if necessarily Oostburg's getting worse, but the other teams like yourself are getting better.
Well, I just think the coaching is really good in the CLC, and they work at it all year round. And I don't think Oostburg's backed up. I think their level of play, and that's the team that you always want to strive to beat. But you know, you got Sheboygan Christian every year. They're tough. Cedar Grove is a good team. Kohler has some real good athletes right down the line. So you do have to be prepared for all those teams, and they can sneak up on you, and you have to be ready.
Yeah. You just missed Division 4, so you're going to be in Division 3 again. Concern you a little bit about, you know, come tournament time?
No, I think we proved ourselves last year. Beating Manitowoc Lutheran, that was in the upper, was a state ranked all year round, and we like that challenge. And when we were in the CLC, since we've been in the CLC, we've been one of the top teams, and we're really proud of that. And we want to continue that with our program that we do have. And Division 4, Division 3, I don't know if I would want to play Randolph at Division 4, and we had that 2 years ago. So we're just going to take one game at a time. We're in a real tough bracket, I think, and John and I were looking at that the other day, and we got some tough teams to be looking at going against. So but that's tournament time. You never know what can happen. That's one game at a time.
Well, best of luck to you, and when I return, Coach Flipsy will be with me from Sheboygan Christian.
And this will be Daddy's tree. So even when Daddy's not here anymore, you'll have something to...
Neil Smith was diagnosed with cancer and given 90 days to live. That was 22 years ago. Before you decide you can't survive cancer, talk with someone who has. Call the RA Block National Cancer Hotline, 1-800-433-0464, or blockcancer.org.
Integrity first. Service before self. Excellence in all we do. These are not just words. These are our core values. Values by which each and every member of the Air Force Reserve lives. So whether we are deploying humanitarian aid, or providing natural disaster relief, or defending freedom wherever it's threatened, the men and women of the Air Force Reserve are there, protecting our values and serving our country. Air Force Reserve, above and beyond.
Exercise your emotions. Attend a live orchestra concert. Go to findaconcert.com.
Welcome back. I'm with Coach Brett Flipsy from Sheboygan Christian. A CLC championship last year must have just been a thrill for you.
Absolutely. You know, joining the CLC was a good thing for us. The level of competition is outstanding in this area, and to be one of the top teams, you know, in that division was a big thrill for us. You know, we were in the middle of the pack the last couple of years, and to step up and really, you know, to be in the level of the Oostburgs and the Kohlers was a real thrill for us.
Teams probably won't be looking past you though this year.
I hope they do. I really hope they do. We returned some nice players from that squad, and but the conference is still a good conference, you know. So hopefully, you know, someone that's going to play Oostburg one night, you know, is going to, you know, look past us the next. So, you know, we're hoping so. We're hoping we can really surprise some teams and get right back to the top again.
Well, you said you returned some players. One of them is a really good one, is Steve Hunick, all conference last year. I believe he was first team.
Yeah, Steve's an outstanding player. One of the nice things about Steve is he can go inside and outside. And again, no one's going to look past Steve this year. You know, he's going to have the focal point of a lot of teams' defenses, you know, looking at him. So I think he can handle it. He's a very nice athlete, very good kid, and he understands his role this year, which is increase his scoring from last year and you know, give us the leadership. And I think he can do that.
Well, I thought last year you had a lot of different people contribute. I didn't think really had any superstars. Steve was one, but you had many. But who are some of those players that are going to contribute this year?
Yeah, last year we had a good group of kids in terms of, the top 10, were key to us. And we're going to have that this year. Returning from last year, some of the guys that are really going to help us are Jake DeMaster. He started part of the year for us and did a nice job and really came on late. So we're hoping he continues to play well this year. John Locke was a starter for us last year. John is a defensive specialist, soccer player, really likes to get around the court and dive after loose balls. And, he's called upon a little bit more this year to score for us. Steve Meyer. A lot of these guys, these seniors came off the bench, or these juniors from last year came off the bench and really contributed. Now it's their turn this year, and Kurt Farrington is another one. So those 5 guys are our seniors, and we're going to have some guys like Braden DeMaster and Jason Hilblink step up as juniors and fill those roles. So those are some of the guys that we're looking for to really be spark plugs for us.
Super. Some keys to success this year. I mean, coming back again, after a big successful year last year, what do you have to get done this year?
We've got to play defense. Our run and gun style really starts on our defensive end. If we can't stop anyone, it's going to be really hard to outscore. Just outshoot people. In this conference, there's a lot of talent, so we've really got to start on the defensive end. Really shut people down and work defensively because we've got scorers. We like to run, we like to push the ball, we like to press, but it's got to come down to our defense, and that's going to be the key to this year.
Well, I think Oostburg might be coming back to the pack, but as you said, there's a lot of talented teams. I know you guys are coming on, and of course with your championship last year, Lutherans, expected a lot. Cedar Grove, you got a lot of good teams, like you said.
Yeah, and I don't think that Oostburg's coming down to the pack. I think the rest of us are just trying to emulate their program. And it was nice last year beating Oostburg. We've got to do it again and again. We want a program like Oostburg has. So we want to continue to do it. And I wouldn't say they're coming down to the pack because they're pretty tough again this year. But there are a lot of schools like Cedar Grove and Kohler's got some nice players. Sheboygan Lutheran is going to be very tough, like you said, preseason. I think they're ranked number 2. And, it's a good conference. Like I said, top to bottom, it's a very good conference.
Yeah, I would agree. It's going to be very competitive this year. One thing I wanted to ask you, my final question for you was, playing in a bigger conference, like you say, playing in the CLC, you guys are a Division IV team. That obviously should help you come tournament time.
Absolutely. Getting to play the Oostburgs and the Sheboygan Lutherans and the Kohlers, you get a good taste of what playoff basketball is going to be like. In this area, when you go to play Oostburg, you go to play Sheboygan Lutheran, and gyms are packed. It's fun to play in those games, and it makes the atmosphere just like a playoff team or a playoff game. And this year is going to be no exception. We've got a real tough bracket to get to state, and it's great to play these teams early in the season to work us into the playoffs.
Anybody else in the conference scare you besides those upper ones?
Cedar Grove is got a nice squad. They're scared. They're still young even. I think they've got like 4 juniors starting, and they could jump up and get you any night if you're not ready to play. And of course Kohler with Mackey, you never know how he's going to turn it on for them, and with his supporting cast, if you don't look out, they could jump up and get you any night.
Well, thanks so much for coming in. Best of luck to you again. Congratulations on last year's championship, and hopefully things will do well for you. When we return, Marty will be with Dan Koopman.
How much do I need to save for her education?
How much credit card debt is too much?
No matter who you are, making informed decisions about what to do with your money will help build a more stable financial future for you and your family.
Take charge of your financial future. Visit our website at federalreserveeducation.org or call us toll-free. There's a lot to learn about money.
Not long ago, Albert couldn't take long walks. He was diagnosed with a bad heart. After considering all the treatment options, his heart specialist recommended a pacemaker instead of putting him to sleep. Get the facts about animal research.
Chronic pain is one of America's most urgent and ignored health issues. Each year we spend millions of dollars on medical research for painful diseases and conditions, but while we wait for cures, people are still suffering. Quietly, secretly, terribly. It's time for relief. That's why Congress has declared this the Decade of Pain Control and Research. To learn more, visit decadeofpain.org.
There's a new experience around every corner as you discover Wisconsin. Discover Wisconsin like you've never seen before.
Joining us is Dan Koopman. And Dan, thanks for coming on the show this year. It's always great to see you and talk to you and do an interview.
Glad to be here, Mike. Thanks for doing the program.
You've got this year starting your 7th year at South, head boys basketball coach. You were at Kiel for over 20 years. How do you like your stay at Sheboygan?
I've been blessed to be at South, Mike. I think it's really been good. I mean, I just appreciate the fact that they gave me a chance to be a head coach, coming off of being a JV coach for so long, and I've just been blessed. I've just been really fortunate to have a lot of great kids there, and just now in my 7th year, we're starting to form some relationships with kids, and I'm really blessed to be there. I really am.
Always helps to have backing by Coach Dick Bennett too.
Yeah, well, I wish Dick well getting back into it. I think that it was really great to hear that he was out. I wish he wasn't so far away. I've kind of been trying to get some information to be able to follow him, and I can't find anything of him. We're out in Pullman, Washington, or wherever he is.
You have to get that ESPN package to get those games.
Yeah, I might have to do that. I'll start lobbying my wife a little bit for some extra money, but I'm pulling for him.
Is the program developing as you had planned? Are things falling into place for you?
Yeah, I like I said, Mike, before, I'm really, really blessed. I think things are going. I mean, there was a couple of years there where, from a win standpoint, we didn't, I would have liked some more wins and particular wins. But, for the most part, I'm happy. Our kids have bought into our off-season programs. Our kids have bought into our summer programs, and I think they're on track. Obviously there was a couple of years I would have liked a few more wins, but even the years that we came up short on the wins, our kids competed and they played hard and they did everything we asked them, and I'm real happy.
I think, at least from the standpoint of the games that I've seen, that your teams are always ready to play. They're not, underprepared, they're not overprepared. I think they're right on track when you enter a game. And
well, I appreciate you saying that. I appreciate you saying that. It's one thing that we're just as coaches, we're just the one piece of the puzzle, and we've got to try to do our part for the kids, and the kids have to take over and win. Take over and win the games. I think as coaches we can get them ready. We can hopefully keep them competitive a little bit, and then kids have to take over. And yeah, I think we've been prepared to play, and I appreciate you saying that and recognizing that.
Let's talk a little bit about last year and lead that into this season. You lost a couple of real nice players, and Nick Phelan and Jake Wilson, and Nick was your leading scorer. And I gotta say this, so one of the things that I really liked about Nick was when they do those little highlight things in the paper, he was one of the only kids that said my favorite class was physical education.
Oh yeah. Actually the one that was politically, he wanted to see, he told the truth. The rest of them always just say chemistry, just because they think that'll make him sound more of a student or something. But no, Nick was a great kid. We're going to miss all of those seniors from last season. Kids that just played hard, played to their roles last year. Nick obviously stepped up and was a scorer, but one thing I liked about those kids, they realized that whatever their role was, it was important to the team, and they were really were team guys. And
very unselfish.
Very unselfish kids, and we're going to miss those kids. We're not set this year with our roles and stuff, and if these players this year buy into the way those seniors did last year, they didn't think, nobody thought they had a minimum role on the team as long as they could help. That's all they cared about, and I hope we can pull the same thing off this year with these guys.
Now, obviously, you've got a lot of scoring to replace with Nick being gone, and he was a high scorer. I think he averaged right around 15, maybe a little bit more than that. But who do you see replacing the scoring punch and the leadership roles?
Well, the first person obviously is Scott Murphy, and Scott is, Scott, I'm assuming, is really going to, and I know for a fact he's going to take over the leadership role this year. We are definitely going to be looking at him, from a scoring standpoint this year. Scott's very healthy. He's as strong as ever. We're going to expect him to, be one of our leading scorers. And the thing that I'm really optimistic about this season is that I think you've always got a chance when probably your best player is your hardest worker, and Scott is one of our hardest workers, and I'm real optimistic of the season just based on that. We're really going to be looking to him.
You touched on one thing that I wanted to ask about, and that was his health, because I think in the past that's been an issue.
Yeah, he's had the injury bug in pretty much every year, and knock on wood here, hopefully things are going to be okay. But Scott's just a lot stronger. He's gotten a lot stronger. He's really bought into our weight program at South, and he's just a lot more stable in the lower body, and I really think he's going to be a force in our conference this year.
Now, given the fact that he'll probably be your high scorer, at least you'll look for him to do a lot of scoring. I would think there are other areas of his game that he needs to improve. What areas does he need to improve?
Well, he's taking care of part of his game by getting stronger, and we're gonna expect him to be, to rebound probably at a higher level this year as far as offensive rebounding. He did a good job rebounding. Defensive boards were very good, but Scott's got the ability to play inside and outside, and we're going to really look at him to get on the offensive boards this year. That if we can do that, it just destroys teams.
I shouldn't let you look at the questions ahead of time.
Oh, okay.
My next question about Scott was, where do you plan on playing him? More in the post or move him around?
Yeah, we're definitely planning on moving him around. I think when you've got that ability, he can step out and he plays well on the perimeter. He's got a good first step. He shoots a three well, and we're just going to kind of based on who's guarding him as far as where he's going to play. If he feels we can take advantage of things inside, we'll move him in. If we feel we can take advantage of somebody outside, we'll move him outside. So
now the other guy that's going to need to step up this season, obviously, is Tim Stubbe, and I would imagine he's going to be running the show for your ball club. First of all, coming off that successful football season, how is his health?
Oh, Tim's healthy. Last year he came in, and I think Tim was kind of a shell of himself last year. I think a little bit. He came in January, and he had the football injury, and I think it was hard for a sophomore to come in the middle of the year. And Tim did a great job. In spite of the fact just coming in late, he was just he just wasn't real comfortable at first because the team had been going for a while, and we had a little success early, and he wasn't real sure of his role, and he did really well this year. I expect probably a lot more out of Tim this year.
One thing he won't have to worry about is what his role is, because he will be the point guard.
Yeah, he will definitely be our point guard, and I think Tim is the strongest when he's got a lot of responsibility. He's got to be our point guard. We're going to have to look for some scoring from him, obviously, and then we're going to also have to look for him to set up other people and make everybody better. So he's got a big job. I think Tim plays the best and can help us more with some scoring. Get those maybe 6, 7, 8 assists a game, and also take care of the floor games. He's got a big job this year.
Adam Koenig and Admir Izmisevic are your only other two seniors, along with Scott Murphy.
Yep.
What role do you see those boys playing?
Adam's a great defender, and I thought he had a great summer this year defending, and he's a very unselfish kid. Takes some pride in his defense, and certainly I think Adam's role is going to be come in and guard one of the better perimeter people this year. He's somebody really unselfish offensively. He'll get other people open. He's talented enough to handle the ball and take care of the ball on offense. But we're going to look at him to defend this year. We're going to expect him to guard some of the best people on the floor.
It's always nice to have that kind of player who can be a little versatile.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. How about Admir? He looks more like a post player. You're not going to use him.
Yeah, Admir's out. We were just kind of commenting. This is one of the first years we've had where everybody's coming into the scene where we've been healthy. And I just had, of course, when I make that comment, I cursed myself. I just got a call the next night, and about 2 weeks ago, when he broke his wrist playing pickup ball at the Y. But he'll be out. He'll probably be coming back at Christmas time. But he's going to help us. We're going to have some size this year with our juniors. But Admir gives us that a little bit more of a physical presence. He's about 6'4", 6'5", a little bit more physical than our other post players, and we're going to need that at times.
had a very nice JV squad last year. They went 16-4.
Right.
Who are some kids off of that team that should contribute?
Well,
this
I
year?
tell you, we've got 10 of them. We're going to have 10 juniors and 4 seniors on this year's team, and I'm really going to expect it from all of them. I couldn't say that I'm expecting anything more from any other ones. They had a great year this year, and they bring a nice blend of athleticism, some height to us, a little toughness, and I'm expecting all 10 of those guys to contribute this year.
Before we wrap up, Dan, let's talk a little bit about the Valley. How do you see it shaking out this year, and where does South fit in?
Yeah, it's going to be I think tougher than probably it's been the last maybe 2 or 3 years, maybe even 4 years. Certainly North is going to be right up there again with their team. Green Bay East is loaded up a little bit.
Harry Blaze is quite a player.
Yeah, they've gotten one of the bets guard from Preble to rotate over there. They've got a transfer from Milwaukee, Messmer, coming up. They'll be very talented. Green Bay Notre Dame is going to be good this year. Manitowoc has lost everybody but 2 seniors, so it's going to be a battle. We're going to have to play well week in and week out this year.
Coach, it's always a pleasure having you on the show. You're a great interview, and one of these years we're going to have to make it down to Bobby Knight's clinic.
Hey, anytime you want to go. I got to go to Texas now, though, so let's go. I'm up.
Well, when we come back from our short break, I'll have Tom Desitel on the set, so stay tuned.
Labs and meth lab waste can be found anywhere. The people who manufacture methamphetamine aren't chemists, and it's a very dangerous process. It's toxic, it's poisonous, it's flammable, it's explosive. What we as citizens can do in our community to stop the flow of methamphetamine is educate ourselves in what's going on, be aware of what's happening in our neighborhoods, and report suspicious activity to the police department.
Imagine if flowers fell from the sky. Imagine if there were no bombs. Imagine there's no heaven. Imagine if everybody was happy. It's easy if you try. Imagine if there were no borders. No hell below us. Imagine if everyone would live in peace and harmony. Imagine if there were no war. Imagine all the people living life in peace. Imagine if there was human rights for everyone. Imagine.
I thought winning the Miss America title would be my greatest achievement, but that was before I became a mom. Now keeping my children healthy and safe is the achievement I'm proud of. That is why I practice good food safety every day. Clean, separate, cook, and chill. Now that's an achievement we can all be proud of. Good. Thank you. We gotta keep this as a reminder. Clean, separate, cook, and chill. To learn more, visit the USDA website or give them a call.
Joining me on the set is Tom Desitel. Tom, thanks for coming in. I really appreciate it. It's always enjoyable to have you on the set and be able to interview you.
Thanks, Mike.
Now, you've got 27 years in and counting at North High School, and over the last couple of seasons as a coach, you've been a retired teacher and coach. What's the difference between being a retired teacher and coach and being a teacher and a coach?
On the surface, it seems like you can spend all your time coaching, but the minus there is I need to be in the hallways every day. I need to see who these kids are, these young people are interacting with, and how their teachers are feeling about them. And as I walk down the hallway, usually they come flying out of the classroom to let me know about their strengths and their weaknesses. They don't hesitate at all to let me know about things.
It's not about girlfriends then.
No, no.
Now, one of the things I've seen this, they send out this form with all the substituting, and I know your name was on the list. Do you do a lot of subbing over at North High School?
I haven't subbed in the last 2 years. I'm kind of on a list that if there's an emergency, I'll be in there.
Last year, your JV team was 17-3, and over the years, they've really been very, very successful. And Ron Rudall has been the JV coach for many years. Probably in your 27 years, he's been the JV coach the longest of the ones that have been involved since your time. What has he meant to the program?
Well, Coach Rudall has a way of getting things done, and I think so often assistant coaches and even our freshman coaches are neglected. At any program, at any level, sometimes it's sort of like a grade school teacher, a second grade teacher. Some people think isn't as smart as a sixth grade teacher because they're teaching older young people, but it's teaching just the same, and he's found a way to do it. When I get some comments by an administrator or an outsider who claims to be a sports fan, I point to the fact that I believe, to my best of my knowledge, they've won 4 conference championships in a row, and I wish I could do that someday.
One of the things I think that really helps your program is stability within the coaching ranks, freshmen all the way up. And although there has been some turnover over the years, for the most part, it's been pretty solid.
Well, we're going to miss Coach Wright this year. Coach Wright just added so much stability to our program, an accomplished varsity baseball coach, and certainly a person we could count on at the basketball level. It's very important to us at North High School to have at least a few coaches in the building, and that's what our goal is. And Chris understands that business, and it was just such a pleasure to have he and Matt Byens working the freshman program last year. What a team that was.
I know you have a new freshman coach. Talk a little bit about him.
Eric Spielman comes to us from Beaver Dam, and Eric worked for 2 years as a student teacher at Madison La Follette, so that's not a bad program either.
We were playing basketball together on Friday, and Kyle has been playing with us, and he put me to the hospital one day, Coach. He spliced open my ear. We got Eric the other night, hit him with an elbow in the cheekbone. I hope Eric's okay.
Yeah, Kyle's not afraid of those older guys. It's the younger ones that I'm worried about.
Your program has been very, very successful, and I can remember when I was at Chilton, we used to have a saying that do more than is expected of you, and more will be expected. And the same could be true for your program. You've been very successful over the years, and as that success builds, people all of a sudden start to expect more of you and the team. How do you handle that in terms of not letting it bother you and all that kind of thing?
I think if you try and stress the things that we're putting into the young people, or giving to the young people this year, perhaps we'll be able to accomplish that. We lose 9 seniors. We're returning probably less than any team in the conference this year as far as scoring. I think our high score returning averaged 4 points a game last year, and some of them barely scored at all or barely had any minutes. And if you just put into them the habit of doing their best, we want them to practice championship principles, and you do that with great student athletes. We want our kids to practice championship principles in the hallway, in the classroom, and certainly in the gym after school. So practice championship principles daily. The other thing we're trying to get through to our young people is that they don't let a teammate fail. We've got kids with varying abilities. Some kids are a little bit afraid of what this varsity basketball is all about, and we don't want to let a teammate fail.
You alluded to the kids that left the program last year, and that had to be one of the most successful groups that went through the North High basketball program. They certainly meant a lot to the program. And how do you replace something like that, and what they brought to the table? How can you deal with the loss of something like that? And I'm not just talking about the scoring. There's the leadership and all the other issues that go along with a group like that.
I'm sure Chad and Brad Wayner and Adam Schmitz, Matt Horzen, and the likes will be difficult to replace. And after a while, you kind of forget how smelly they were as far as their practice gear and practice every day. You kind of look only for the good things that they brought to the program. But each group has been challenging, and each group has performed to the best of their ability. And yes, indeed, that will be a difficult group to replace for us.
You have a lot of football players that play basketball, and is that something that's good in terms of the conditioning? Is that a plus or a minus? Do you have more trouble getting the kids that maybe were out for a previous sport to get ready to play basketball, or is it a non-issue?
I think Coach Tudis and his staff, particularly with the underclassmen he had in his program, got a lot of competitiveness out of them, a lot of competition, a lot of mixing it up in practice every day. And that's mixing it up that we can't duplicate even in basketball over at Grant School on Friday afternoons against some of the real athletes in Sheboygan.
You're talking about us teachers, huh?
I'm talking about a few of the teachers, right. Many of you are not the best shooters, but in fact, I've heard that, Mike, that your best shot is still the cheap shot. I'm not sure if that's accurate.
I think that's Mike Hansen.
Okay. Oh, that might be Coach Hansen.
You got the wrong Mike in there. Let's talk a little bit about this year's team, and you've got a couple of real nice kids coming back that, like you had mentioned before, really didn't get a lot of playing time, or at least didn't do a lot of scoring for the team. Brian Herman and Kyle Tetschlag would on the surface seem to be two of your top players.
Well, Brian Herman certainly brings a lot of skill and talent from the football picture. Last year he struggled a bit playing with a couple levels up because he was only a sophomore. The same with Kyle Tetschlag. Neither one of them performed at a level that they performed at this summer for us. But we are counting on those two as two of our bigger athletes that we have. Shane Gruby is another one that we're counting on as our big people. But those are top-notch kids.
Who else do you see as filling out the guard positions, I guess, is what I'm looking at now?
Well, it's rather early in the season, and we'll be testing that through our non-conference season, of course. But Dave Soxie returns with some potential as far as being a good basketball player. Andrew Stewart's is a good one. Jake Fry is another player. All three of those guys were on our team last year. Trevor Gruby is a good player from Coach Rudolph's team from last year. I'm not sure. Peter Worth is a player who we brought up at the end of last year. Very aggressive kid who's grown quite a bit from last year. Those players are going to be right in the mix, I believe.
One thing that you have to enjoy as a coach is when you get kids, brothers moving up through the program. I know the Worth boy from a couple of years ago was a very, very hard-nosed player. And I would assume that his younger brother, Peter, coming up is the same type of a kid. And I'm not just talking about the Worth family now, but, you know, the Soxies and Sellingers and all that. When you have that flow through the program, it's got to be a good thing.
I think one brother won't let his other brother let down the family name and the tradition that they build up. And we tease Richie all the time that his brother is so much better than he was when he was a player here. And I think we'll probably do the same thing with the Worths, but Eric's waiting to see it.
Coach, let's wrap this up. Talk a little bit about the Valley. You were conference champs last year, and you're always right in the mix. And you had mentioned earlier in the interview that you really lost a lot. How do you think you're going to do this year, and who else is going to challenge for that championship this year in the Valley?
Well, I think you yourself put the kiss of death on us when you the first conference game of the year. You projected that we would be 14-0, and although you were accurate with that, I wasn't real happy to hear that.
I heard that too, by the way, that you weren't happy about saying that.
That created quite a monster, because how can they have a successful year when, if they even lose one time, what might happen to them. But the league is always competitive. I don't think anybody in this city that follows basketball doesn't appreciate the fact that our other teams in Sheboygan are also very competitive. Namely, Sheboygan South is one of the teams that they're talking about. They had an athlete last year that averaged 23 points a game against Sheboygan North. And that's the Murphy kid, and he returns for them. But they too need to replace 3 or 4 starters from last year. I don't know, I don't brag too much about our kids, but I know Nick Phelan over there at South did an awesome job holding that team together, and they had 3 other seniors that were very valuable to them. So they need to replace those folks.
Coach, thanks a lot for stopping in the program. You're always a great interview. I really appreciate you coming on. When we come back, Chris and I will wrap up tonight's program.
No, I'm still at the train station. I just almost got killed. Yeah, about 10 minutes ago. I'm still shaking. Well, I got off the 940 and Jill called. Yeah, it was raining, and so I put the newspaper over my head. I forgot my umbrella, and I didn't want to go walk over the overpass. And then I heard the whistle and the light. I was walking right into a train. This guy, he pulled me back.
Look, listen, and live, or someone you love will get hurt.
I just almost died.
Start hallucinating after 3 days. Start scratching yourself so bad that you'll develop scabs on your arms. Your teeth will fall out, your eyes will turn yellow. You'll develop liver problems, but you'll regret it. You'll end up in jail, you'll end up in rehab, or you'll end up dead. And there ain't nothing else to say about it.
Each day, city officials and citizens work hard to keep our communities and country safe and strong. Sometimes we take them for granted, but their hard work doesn't go unnoticed. This week, during the 6th National Conference on Preventing Crime, 8 winners from across the nation were recognized through awards of excellence in crime prevention.
The award is very special because I've been involved in crime prevention since the late 70s, early 80s. And to get this type of recognition is good for the institute that I work for in the state, and it feels good for myself also.
I'm just really honored to be receiving this award, and it's just more motivation to keep going on with my issue, which is to prevent underage drinking.
I think we're just extremely proud and grateful for this. We thank the National Crime Prevention Council and as well as ADT and certainly our San Antonio Police Department who nominated us for this award, and it really means the world to us.
Sponsored by the National Crime Prevention Council and ADT Security Services, the Awards of Excellence in Crime Prevention were established in 1997 to honor ordinary individuals doing extraordinary things.
It's a terrific organization that really gives a lot back to the community. When you're talking about Homeland Security, these are the folks that are doing it.
As part of the 4-day Crime Prevention Conference, people will rally to promote communities taking control of their neighborhoods to prevent crime.
The winners of the Crime Prevention Award are ordinary folks. They're you, they're me, but they are doing the extraordinary. These are people who don't take credit. These are people who form partnerships. These are people who go well beyond the bounds of their daily work to do what they do.
This is Lee Roberts reporting.
There's a new experience around every corner as you discover Wisconsin. Discover Wisconsin like you've never seen before.
Chris, we've got all the interviews done, and they're very well done by the coaches we had tonight. Let's talk a little bit before we get into the conference predictions that we'll both have. Let's talk a little bit about some of the impact players that we should see.
Well, let's start with some of our underclassmen. I really believe the county is dominated by very good underclassmen. The seniors, there is some good ones, but I really believe the underclassmen are where the strength is. There's Kyle Tetchlog at Sheboygan North, and Brian Herman and Peter Worth. All three of those players can really flat play. Peter Worth plays like his brother. He's just a great hustler, and we know a lot about Kyle Tetchlog, just a great athlete. And of course, we know Brian Herman from the football season. Of course, we have Johnny Decker, which we've talked about already. He's just a sophomore this year. Then there's a couple juniors, Tim Stubbe and Cody Mackey. Tim, of course, the point guard at Sheboygan North, and the leading scorer over in the CLC at Kohler was Cody Mackey.
With that being said, you know, we definitely got to pay some attention to the seniors that are in the area, and there are some real good ones in the senior class.
Yeah, and some of these guys have been playing varsity ball for a number of years. We already talked about Steve Hunick, but there's Jimmy Keller, who's down at Oostburg, who is getting some looks at big Division I schools, and we'll see how he fares. And of course, Scott Murphy, a 3-year player at Sheboygan South, big, strong rebounder. oft injured. Let's see if he can have a complete senior year and you know, help South to the upper echelon of that conference.
How do you see Sheboygan North figuring into the Fox River Valley race, given that they've lost all 5 of their starters?
Well, I think the FRVC is very competitive. I think it's going to be a lot like the football conference. I don't think anyone's going to walk away and go undefeated like North did last year. I wouldn't be surprised if 3 or even 4 losses wins it. So you can't get down. If you have a loss on a Friday night, a tough loss on the road or something, you got to come back, because I really believe it's pretty competitive. Obviously, Sheboygan North picked to win, and they always are. They have to be picked. Watch Green Bay Notre Dame a little bit. They've been coming on strong, and of course, Casey Sikowski's up there. Green Bay East is Harry Boyce, who's just an outstanding ball player. And I think every year that we've done this, Sheboygan South's been picked like 5th or 6th, and they always surprise everybody. So I watch for them to be, you know, maybe in the top 3. I think it's be very competitive.
I think with North, they're going to really have to depend on their underclassmen to, you know, get them in that upper echelon. And as for South, I think they're really going to have a strong year from Murphy and from Stubbe. They're possibly their 2 best players. Let's talk a little bit about Christian and Lutheran and the Central Lakeshore Conference.
Again, I think, as we've mentioned in the interviews, I think Oostburg, of course, is the team to beat, and until, you know, somebody knocks them off, they're going to be tough. And with Jimmy Keller there and Van Ness coming back, they're going to be real big and real strong, and maybe even better than they were a year ago. Sheboygan Lutheran is going to be a real nice team. They're going to be really good this year, and next year they're going to be really, really good. So they're going to be fun to watch. And of course, Sheboygan Christian has their athletes, and after such a successful year last year, I can see them finishing in the top 3.
What I find kind of interesting is that last year, I remember Coach Flipsy saying he's hoping to build off of that championship soccer season, and he did. You know, they won the conference, and now they went ahead and won the soccer state championship again. You know, and I'm sure he's hoping that that can propel his athletes into bigger and better things as the basketball season goes along.
Yeah, and it's very easy to have, when you have winners there, to coach winners, and that he doesn't have to do. And like I said, they're coming off a good soccer season, good basketball season, so that should lead for them to have a good year too.
TV8 has a full schedule of games coming up. We're going to be seeing Sheboygan North and South both 5 times. We have 4 Lakeland games, 2 on the men's side, 2 on the women's side. And we've got a game coming up on December 4th where Concordia College, which features Stacy Rush from Sheboygan Lutheran playing, and of course Renee Steinert from Sheboygan Lutheran plays for Lakeland girls.
Yeah, and that both the girls and the boys over at Lakeland are supposed to have just outstanding season. The men are picked first in their conference. I'm really excited about seeing Gary Gresh work out there.
I was just thinking the same thing.
So that should be, and we have a good fun year ahead of us.
It's going to be a lot of fun, and we want to thank you for watching the program, and thank the crew for the fine job they did, Andy and Brian and Carrie. Of course, you, Chris, for the fine interviews you conducted. And fans, thanks for watching. Stay tuned to TV8 because we got a lot of basketball coming up this year. We'll see you down the road.
Hi, my name is Irma.
Don Cobb. Jeff Harrison.
Tom Long.
My name is Ruth Serrano.
I'm a single mom.
I'm a veteran. I served in the military for 7 years. Recently retired.
I'm 18. I'm a senior at Bella High School.
I'm a single parent.
I have 2 children.
My wife is also on a disability retirement.
What I plan to do when I do attend college is study nursing.
My dream is to own my own home.
GovBenefits.gov is very easy to access.
One convenient URL, one convenient website address.
It gives you a secure way to find what you need.
I find this website unique and different.
There's a lot of things there that a lot of people aren't aware of.
My wife has just turned 62, and we were able to check out things as far as
or Social Security retirement benefits are concerned.
My main concern was childcare.
I'm computer illiterate, so all I had to do was just go through, check category boxes that applied to me.
I think the website, as it's designed, tying in as many government agencies as possible, can work to the benefit of many, many people.
By me being a senior citizen, and not really doing the computers and all, and I tell you, I just came in and I just sat down and be able to work with it, and everything just came right together.
It's very simple. It's not complicated. You don't have to fill out 1,000,001 gazillion things. You don't have to give personal information.
If I could get to it, anybody could get to it, because computers and I don't get along very well. We don't communicate, and it was very easy.
GovBenefits.gov is an excellent tool for community organizations and the people that they serve.
GovBenefits.gov is all about connection.
The online eligibility screening tool is a wonderful asset for people that are surfing the net trying to find federal government services and benefits.
GovBenefits.gov, in a very real and tangible way, complements the services that folks can find.
A very important part of our programming with our teens is to have them look into post-high school opportunities.
Since I am planning on studying nursing, the website govbenefits.gov did help me find a couple of scholarship and grant programs.
This is like having a second staff person. Within minutes, I know I can go in, enter the criteria I'm looking for, and in the click of a button, I have a long list of resources that will help me serve the families in the community.
GovBenefits.gov not only provides federal information to citizens, but it also provides state-administered programs.
I think it's just terrific that in the federal government, what we've been able to accomplish with GovBenefits.gov and its tremendous growth rate over the last year.
It consolidates 31 million pages of information into one area, something that has never been done before.
You feel confident because this is the government. Your government is helping us to achieve what we need.
The site was a great benefit to me, and I think that it will benefit other veterans.
They put it all there for you. All you have to do is click a button.
Because I'm a single parent doesn't mean I can't get ahead, because you can. If you work on it, you can, and this site will help you.
Hello?
Hello, this is Danny Glover.
Danny Glover?
I'm giving a wake-up call to every man in America. Mr. Johnson, did you know that at every age, American men have poorer health and a higher risk of mortality than women? Men experience higher instances of death due to hypertension, cancer, stress, HIV, and depression. As a matter of fact, men live sicker and die sooner from all but one of the leading causes of death. We take more risks, handle stress differently, and are less likely to schedule checkups or to follow up when symptoms arise. If you really want to be a man and take care of your family, you can start by taking care of yourself. So schedule an appointment with a doctor and find out what might go wrong before it does.
I'll call today. And thank you.
You're welcome. Bye. Hello, Mr. Rodriguez?
How far would you go to help someone? Would you go to the end of your driveway? Would you cross a street? Would you cross an ocean? To a place 6,000 miles from home? And how long would you go? Would you go for a week? A month? A year? Would you go for 2 years? Would you go if you could use your knowledge to teach someone, and in the process, maybe learn something yourself? Life is calling. How far will you go? Peace Corps.